Well, howdy, folks. Welcome to my second English live stream. The last time we had so many questions that I had to do a part two, and there may even be a part three. So, welcome, folks. I'm glad to see you all here. And once again, my co pilot, Dragon Rose, is moderating. She's right over there. There she is. I would like to ask you to please hold your questions until we're taking a break so that I get to do a little bit of talking and then we'll get into the questions. In the first part of this chat, I'm going to give you a walk through my website, my Dreamland Resort website that started it all, and also to some other websites that are related that I'm also running and inherited in one case. So, and then in the second part, then I'm going to actually take you for a tour around Area 51. That's right, I'm going to show you the Area 51 base. I'm going to show you a lot of the buildings. I'm going to explain the function of a lot of the buildings in Google Earth. And I'm going to point you to some Google Earth plugins that you can download that pretty much label every single building at Area 51 and that explains everything in great detail. So that'll be the second part of today's live stream if we have time. If we don't, it's going to be another live stream some other time. We'll see how far we get. I'm aiming for about 2 hours today, so hour and a half, 2 hours. What we can cover in that time, we'll just do another live stream next time. As you can tell, I'm wearing the appropriate shirt. For those that haven't been at Area 51, this is a replica of one of the original Area 51 warning signs. My good friend Jeff Gregos made that. He sadly passed away since, but I'm still proudly wearing it. So let's jump right in. Like I said in my previous live stream, the first time around, I founded my Dreamland Resort website in 1999. It wasn't really meant to be a big thing. It was supposed to be a website to share my information about Area 51, my findings, poking around the base, camping around the area, meeting people, getting to know the area. And it very quickly took a life on its own. It took off big time. The website wants to be two things at once. It wants to be your guide if you visit Area 51 for the first time. It has maps and do's and don'ts, frequently asked questions, all the things you want to know before you first visit Area 51. And of course, it also has sections that are a lot more detailed, all the way down to scanner frequencies, the flight schedule of the commuter flights that go into Area 51, and all the nitty-gritty details. So no matter what your interest in Area 51 is, if you're just planning a day trip out there, or if you're serious about researching all the details about our favorite secret base, this live stream and my website is what you want. My website for over 6 years now is financed only through donations. I did away with all ads. There's no more advertising on my website. And it's been working fantastic. Every single month I've made goal. It's really great to see all that support from the community. And to those that have supported us, thank you very much. Linda is going to post also a link for donations if you like to make a donation here right here from the chat. And there's also in the description to the video, there's also a link to a donation page and also to all the relevant websites that I'm going to mention in this chat. All right, so let's jump right in. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and I'm going to walk you through my Dreamland Resort website. Let's see if I can do this. How about that? And here we are. So this is it. This is my Dreamland Resort website. Yes, it has a very 90s design. That is because it was designed in the 1990s, literally camping in the back of my SUV around Area 51, putting the first pages together. And that's how this website started. I'll walk you through the individual sections of the website. On the main page up here, you find some really important links. You find some information about donations if you'd like to support us. Down here, you find some links about the Area 51 raid, a link to the area51raid.com website. As many of you will know, my homes were raided by the FBI about 2 years ago. A lot of equipment was taken, all the documents, everything that happened right here on area51fbiraid.com. The link to Roadrunners, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. That is a website full of history that I'm proud to continue. I inherited that from the Roadrunners, and what the Roadrunners are, I'm going to tell you in a little while. So let's jump right in. Down over here on the left is a button bar, good old 1990s web design. You got a button bar here, and this is an important section here, news and events, where you can see upcoming events, red flag exercises. Here the Nellis open house that is coming up. Anything about Area 51, Nellis Air Force Base, the news are being posted here. And then you got some media links up here, latest updates to the website. If you're a frequent visitor to the website, you could just click on this and you see what has been posted, what pages have been updated. That can be very helpful. The next section down here is the frequently asked question and visitor info. That is your source if you come out here to visit Area 51 for the first time. All these are links to individual pages. There's, I don't know how many, 20, 30, 40 individual pages with do's and don'ts, with frequently asked questions, all the way from what is Area 51? Can I get a job at Area 51? Is there cell phone service? All this, here's a little table that shows you where there's cell phone service in our area. This is full of information if you want to come to visit Area 51 for the first time. This all really came out of my first visits, and the questions that I had, I tried to put them on here, and so I can kind of relate to this. This is what I wanted to know when I first came to Area 51. Watchers etiquette is down here somewhere. Do's and don'ts when you come out here to watch the skies. If there's anything you can find here, email me and I'll add it. I'll add the information. There's some view spots that you can see Area 51 in some cases, or other significant view spots in the area. Up here, some information. This may be interesting for some of you. Do's and don'ts about flying drones around Area 51. You can't just willy-nilly fly drones in that area. There are some restrictions, and I'm going into all those details on this page. Explore it for yourself. This can probably keep you busy for an evening or two, just to explore the frequently asked question and visitor info. And okay, so you want to know a little bit more about Area 51, then this is your section right here. Area 51. Well, here it is. You have photos, of course, here a link to my YouTube channel that you're currently on. Here's a bunch of different panoramas and photos taken of Area 51 over time, all the way back to the 1950s. Here's a historic photo from the U-2 operations, the first hangars at the north end of the base, what is now the north end of the base. Then you have some historic photos of base equipment. Here's one of the radar dishes at the south end of Groom Lake. some equipment here. These are original photos of Area 51 equipment from the 1950s. I think I got a nice shot, an aerial shot of the base, the way it looked like in 1965, with the hangars here on the north end. These are the U2 hangars. There's housing here and some administrative buildings, and so forth. I don't want to go through every single link, but it goes all the way to Tikabo Peak panoramas from 2024. Here's just a little preview. You click on it, and you get a huge panorama of Area 51. This was taken by my good friend Michael from Poland. He comes to the United States several times a year. He's a big fan of Area 51, and he's really been very instrumental in Area 51 research in the recent past. This is one of his panoramas that he took, and you can see we're looking at the south end of the base here. There's a gravel pit. Then we're getting further over here to the first hangars. This is one of the more recently built hangars. You see some equipment in the background here, and it gets further over. I'm going to talk about this hangar. This is a very interesting area. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we go through Area 51 on Google Earth. This ramp here that is partially covered by a hill is that is the CIA ramp, where the CIA back in the 60s ran the A-12 spy plane program. These are the hangars that were used. This yellowish hangar here was actually used to mount the cameras on the A-12, so the A-12 would kind of pull in partially into the hangar, and then they would bolt the camera on, and it would come out and take off for their reconnaissance missions, is probably the right word to use here. This hangar is probably the most notable, the most well-known hangars at Area 51, the so-called Hangar 18. It's a multi-purpose hangar for maintenance on the Janets, and I believe that this goes a little into details. There's a plane that goes by the nickname Rat 55, and I believe that Rat 55 lives in this hangar. What Rat 55 is, we may cover that in a future live stream. That would go a little too far. Those that are familiar with Area 51 that have been doing this for a while will know what I'm talking about. Here's some new buildings that were built fairly recently. I'll tell you a little bit more about those. Very interesting buildings too. A little bit more about those also. Water tower here, and the north end of Area 51 at the south end of Groom Lake. Groom Lake is right here. You can kind of see the salt flat. Some of the radar dishes. This is a very mysterious little feature, or not so little really, a very mysterious feature, a triangular tower. There's some speculation about it. We are fairly certain that it is able to rotate around its axis. What exactly it does, we don't know 100% for certain. And here, the north end of the valley with a bunch of radar sites in the valley. They are all over the valley. I can show you a little bit more about that on Google Earth later on too. So this is one of the panoramas. And you have, I don't even know how many, 10, 12 different panoramas taken at different times. Let's see, nighttime panorama. You've got a nice nighttime shot of Area 51 with the lights on, also taken by Michael. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there's more nighttime photos here. So you can go through all these panoramas. Here's one that I have actually commented. This is a panorama that I took back in 2005. Some of you may have seen in my little intro video. I'm showing in the background when I'm talking. There's a 3-segment panorama on the wall. That is what these 3 panorama segments are. And when you click on them and you zoom in, every single feature is labeled, and you can read all about Area 51. This is a little outdated, like I said, it was from 2005, but a lot of those features are still very valid. Then further down here, we got some satellite images. 3 times I have actually initiated, collected some money from our viewers to buy satellite images of Area 51. That is something that a lot of people don't realize. You can actually go to a satellite operator and say, okay, give me a satellite image of these coordinates. And they say, okay, well, no problem, just pay us and we'll do it. So, I gave them the coordinates right around Area 51. I was expecting all kinds of pushback the first time around. And lo and behold, a few days later, after I paid, I had my fresh picture of Area 51, which was this one from 2007. It also ended up on Google Earth, but this image was actually paid for initially by members of my website. We have another one from 2009 that was also paid by folks from my website, from our website, Dreamland Resort. And then another one from 2011. If you put them side by side or you overlay them over each other, you can see subtle changes. You can see one building being built here right now. And I have learned a lot about Area 51 by comparing satellite images over time. That really tells you, you kind of have an idea of projects that are going on, and then you're looking at what has changed on base at that time. That gives you a pretty good idea of what projects may be in what section of the base. So then further down, we got a bunch of maps, more maps. I'll tell you about that later in the map section. Building map here and view spots. Some view spots here, power lines overlook, the black mailbox. You can explore those for yourself. Something about projects at Area 51 that we know about. Great articles about the history of Area 51. Most of these articles were written by aviation historian Peter Merlin. Peter is also the one who wrote this great book right here, Dreamland, The Secret History of Area 51. Peter wrote the book on Area 51. He knows everything there is to know about Area 51. So for anyone who is interested, I can recommend this book, Dreamland, The Secret History of Area 51. And that some of these articles down here in the history section kind of go into what his book talks about. Great history of the early days at Area 51 and so forth. Some info about the perimeter of Area 51, Groom Lake Road, some photos, some older photos, some photos from above, a map here, what it looks like. You can explore all that for yourself. Some of these images are also labeled, so you can get a little more information about them. Yeah, here's pretty much that warning sign. This is an earlier version. And then this is the warning sign pretty much that I'm wearing right now. So, okay. Area 51 security, of course, the camo dudes. Everybody knows the camo dudes. That's the guys that provide perimeter security about Area 51 in their various iterations of pickup trucks, Jeeps, and so forth. These are the guys that you're going to run into when you visit the perimeter. They'll be sitting up on a hill, pretty much similar to this guy right here, watching you, and they like to fold down their visor so you can't see them, you can't take photos of them, and sometimes they try to hide behind these Joshua trees, which doesn't really work very well. So various camo dudes here. What else do we have here? More camo dude pictures, older vehicles. Area 51, the aircraft, the Black Hawk helicopters. Area 51 has a fleet of 3 Black Hawk helicopters. And here are pictures of the actual choppers that they use. These were taken in Las Vegas, in and around Las Vegas. And this photo I actually took of that security helicopter flying right over my house in Rachel. Some information about registration numbers and some information about flights that these choppers have been known to do. And I mean, I'm going into quite a bit of detail about their activities. There is a fourth that is some kind of an experimental aircraft that is mostly living on the East Coast. But these 4 choppers are really one of a kind, or 4 of a kind, I should say. There's only 4 of them built. They were originally built to secure nuclear missile sites. And when those went away, when there was no more need for them to do that job, they were purposed at Area 51. There's really only 4 of them in existence of that particular model. All right, and of course we have the F-16s. Here's the serial numbers of the F-16s that live at Area 51. There's really only 3 that live at Area 51. One of them is living at Tonopah Test Range. That goes really into a lot of detail. Of course, a lot of information about the Janet flights. Janets are the commuter shuttles that bring workers from Las Vegas, McCarran Airport, to Area 51. And there's a lot of information about these, the serial numbers. You can click on the hex code and you can track the individual aircraft. Let's see, that one doesn't have any history. Well, you can track all of them. So here you can see flights that the Janets have made today. And so you can pretty much go to the history and look at past flights and so forth. Okay, what else do we have? Surveillance devices, the FLIR camera network, some photos of that. I have some more information in other areas of this website. There's some information about this network that I'm not publishing. Surveillance cameras all over the place, various models. There's one big one. This is Bald Mountain, the radar installation on Bald Mountain that you see very prominent in the, when you're sitting in the valley. Look up the mountain range, you can't miss it. And this is a big remote controlled surveillance camera that is pretty much, that has the entire valley in view. More surveillance cameras here. Let's see, what else? We got the radio sites. Okay, well, I forgot the road sensors. How could I forget the road sensors? Here they are. If you're driving on dirt roads towards Area 51 outside the perimeter, you are tripping road sensors. This is what they look like. They're buried in the ground. All you see is a little, looks like a blade of grass sticking up this little wire antenna. And then, of course, if you dig them up, you see this little box appearing. And you dig them up some more, and then you see this.
How would you know that?
Well, how would I know that? Years and years and years ago, we have dug these sensors up. We devised a way to locate them and dug them up. Wasn't a good idea. I would not recommend anyone try that. We had a little slap on the wrist, a good friend of mine and myself, and it was made clear that don't do that again. So,
Blame Chuck, someone said.
yeah, well, good old Chuck. We had a good time. And I gotta say, while we were digging these things up, security was sitting 100 yards away from us, watching us. And, you know, I was really thinking, okay, if they got a problem with it, they're gonna let us know. And nobody did. So a few weeks later, there was a little slap on the wrist, but it's all good. Yeah, and this is what the plug looks like, where the actual sensor is connected to the transmitter unit and so forth. All right, so much for the road sensors. We got radio sites. There's all kinds of radio sites around Area 51, Bald Mountain, Badger Mountain, Mount Irish, flat top radio site that is gone by now, Papoose Mountain. I'll tell you about some of these radio sites, maybe in this live stream, or maybe we'll do a separate live stream about radio sites around Area 51. data relay sites. That's just, you come through and you drive through on the highway and you think, well, there's nothing here. There's a lot there if you really know where to look. And it's kind of, not necessarily hidden. It's hidden in plain sight, I should say. And you look closely, you take binoculars, and you look up the top of the hill. Oh, look, there's another site. And, that's the way it goes there. The north gate of Area 51, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. Also, when we look at Google Earth, various iterations of the north gate. There used to be a bunch of radar sites there. They are gone now, but there is another very interesting site at the back gate now. And what's up with that site, I am going to tell you in a little more detail later. Just to give you a little preview, this is what I'm talking about. You might have seen my other videos about that new 99.9 radio backgate FM transmitter. This is it. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later or in another live stream. Some other stuff, and then of course Area 51 news and timeline. This is a page that I put together with developments at Area 51 over time. So this goes back to, I don't even know, probably early 2000s. Well, 1999, look at that. That was the first pictures that I ever took around Area 51, the back gate and Cedar Gate, a new security truck. And so on this page, you are seeing the base develop over 25, 26 years now, and all the notable developments at the base documented. Okay, so much for Area 51.
Maybe you should answer a few questions before you move on.
Okay, let's get to some questions. Your head is probably spinning already.
Okay.
So let me get into some questions.
Let me check. Okay, here's what I got from Foggy Trail. Are there any viewpoints near Tickaboo Peak to avoid the cameras?
Yes.
And are you willing to share them?
No. If you look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. This is Michael's domain. Michael discovered a really good view spot up there, and he prefers to keep it under wraps, so I can't talk about it. But if you look at Google Earth and you kind of look around Tickaboo area, you kind of get the point where he's talking about. So yes, there are other view spots. In fact, one of the panoramas that I've shown you was taken from that alternate view spot.
Okay, from Quick76. Hello, Joerg. Are the security still EG&G or another company?
They, in one way or another, it's still the same security force. They change their name every once in a while. They are not EG&G anymore. I'd have to really look into who's providing security right now, but they are hired private security that have really no jurisdiction outside of the boundary. They can detain you, and they are you can think of the security at Area 51 as a layer, as an onion, and they are the outer layer of the onion. Further out, you're dealing with the sheriff's department. Further in, you're dealing with Air Force security.
Okay, and KLW News said, what about all the Black Bell 206 helicopters that fly around there? I have video of them.
The Black Bell?
I may have that out of context. I'm just trying to copy and paste these questions. There's a lot of chatter going on earlier.
Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand the question. What was it? KL News? Can you repeat that question? I'm not quite sure I understand that question.
And backing up, Noah also wanted to know what other companies work at Area 51 and the TTR besides JT4. Do you know?
Well, of course, the Air Force, Lockheed, Northrop, all the big players in the Black World work at Area 51. They have assigned hangars at Area 51 to do their projects, but they are not, of course, employed by Area 51. There's the conglomerate known as JT4 is managing Area 51, there's also other contractors, but I can't go in. I know a little bit more detail, but I can't get into that.
Okay, and Garrett Cox wants to know the age-old question, whatever happened to the YouTuber Adventures with Christian?
Yeah, we covered that the last time. He's a really cool guy. He did a lot of great videos. And in fact, his videos have kind of inspired me to do something similar in a way. He lost interest. He kind of got bullied by someone, and they were doing very similar things. Christian started this, and then somebody else came in and kind of bullied him, and he finally just said, I don't need this, and moved on. I'm still in contact with him. He's a great guy. He just lost interest, unfortunately. I wish he would still be interested in doing this. He did some great videos of Tickaboo and all of these things. I actually have a link to his channel on my front page on my YouTube channel.
KLW News has quite a bit of information. Evidently, he said that believe that sensor you were showing, he said that's an EMID. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, and he said he approved those for the U.S. military back in the 90s.
Yeah.
He wants to interview you. I told him to email you.
Yeah, get in touch with me through email. I'd be happy to. There is some information I have on my website about these sensors, and there's also information. It's like when I first started publishing about these sensors and publishing photos and so forth, the information that was posted on the manufacturer website all of a sudden magically went away. So I was able to grab some information. I have some that I prefer not to share, but essentially they are EMIDs. I forgot what that acronym stands for, something electronic monitoring, blah, 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 intrusion, something or other. And if you Google them, you really won't find much information anymore. They scrub the web pretty good regarding information about those sensors, but I can tell you for a fact that they are still in use.
And Jess from Escape the Simulation, my friend, wants to know if you're going to talk about the raid, and I told her if you have time.
Yeah, I talked about that a little bit last time. Maybe if we have some time at the end of this, I'll talk about it a little bit. Maybe we'll also do a whole separate segment about that. Probably like a 1 hour segment where I'm talking about the raid and what all has transpired in connection to that.
You might want to go up there and start from there.
Okay, Großherzog von Schnitzelhausen once mentioned that you don't believe in underground bunkers since you have not found any overburden that supports it thesis, but there is one north of Sugar Bunker. Yeah, send me the coordinates. I am not familiar with that. A lot of it, and I don't want to bust your bubble right now, but a lot of it is mine entrances that people misidentify. But send me the coordinates. Email me with the coordinates. Right now, I can't really. I have no way of looking it up.
When you say mine, you're referring to gold mine, iron mine,
yes.
Not mines like blow up mines.
No, I'm talking about mines as in mining. There's a big tungsten mine north of Rachel, and some people have actually taken video footage of one of the mine entrances and passed that off as a secret entrance to Area 51. Not so.
Benson.
Okay. How do you critically assess evidence and navigate potential disinformation when exploring the mysteries of Area 51? Good question. By being very, very skeptical with everything I'm being sent. I have some people that I trust and whose word I take for gospel. One of them, Peter Merlin. So sometimes when I'm not sure about something, I run it by him and I say, hey, take a look at this. What do you think? If I am sent something that I think has security implications, I file it and pretty much don't act on it. There was, right after the raid, there was something sent to me that to this day, I don't know if it was for real or not. I sent it to the FBI and never published it anywhere. So short answer, by being very skeptical, by comparing it to information that I have, does that fit in? Does that make sense in that context? And sometimes by checking with other reliable sources. But I want to make that very clear also right here. Unclassified sources. I am not using anyone who has any kind of classified information for a source. So, okay, the KL News, you got, there's a Black Belt 206 helicopter that I videoed when I was there last year. You know, it's funny, I actually saw one land in Rachel, but I don't think it was related to anything Area 51. Send me the, if you have it, send me the tail code or the hex code or any kind of, or a picture of it, whatever, and I'll look into it.
Quit 76.
Quitson, have you seen N99NG flying around there? I have, not in a long time. They used to do tests of subsystems for the B-21. I actually, I kind of, I should have probably kept quiet about it. I monitored them for a while and then I posted about them in the forum. And shortly after I posted about them, I quit seeing them in the ranges. They were basically, I haven't seen them in, I'd have to look at my log, probably a good 2 years now in the NITR, in the NTTR. They used to come out fairly frequently to test systems out of, they used to fly out of Plant 42 in Palmdale to test subsystems out of in the ranges, and of course they're based in Florida. Doesn't it say much more? Yeah, the sensors, you know, I'm kind of there's some stuff about the sensors that I don't like to talk about, and it doesn't do anyone any good. So I have dropped some hints in some of my videos, and I'm going to leave it at that. Camera and lens do you use? It's actually a Canon camera. What is it, an R6 with a 100 to 500 millimeter zoom lens. You can actually probably see it in the shelf right behind me here. It's a great camera, pretty expensive. I had to upgrade because my previous camera is still with the FBI, so that's my replacement. Great camera, and I also have a 2x converter for it that makes it a 600 to 1000 millimeter lens. Great for taking pictures out there. Okay, what aspects of, did I miss something? What aspects of variation between most, and how do you delve into its enigmatic history while piecing together fragmented narratives? Wow, that's a, yeah. The mystery about Area 51 intrigues me the most. The fact that they are playing with something that is, and when I say playing, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that in an admiring way, with stuff that is keeping our country safe. They are working on cutting edge stuff, and that in itself, the dedication of the people there, what they do, how far advanced they are, the mystery around it, that intrigues me. And I also don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm doing. I'm not trying to expose anything. I'm trying to, you know, lift that curtain a little bit and take a little peek under there. And that's all I'm doing. And as you heard me say several times now, there is things that I'm holding back and that I will never publish. But what intrigues me the most, the mystery, the cutting edge technology, and the chance to maybe, just maybe, see something really cool coming out of Area 51. Stop talking to the FBI. I can't even, because they won't talk to me.
I told him you don't, but he thinks you do, because you had said, didn't you just say that if you think it's secret, you send it to the FBI? No, that's not what you said.
This was right after the raid. It was related to I thought it was related to the raid. So I sent them that information because I felt that they had the wrong guy. That's something that somebody else did, reflected at me. And I felt that that was relevant. That is the only time I sent them information. And I haven't talked to them since the raid. And they won't talk to me. They won't even answer my questions, and not even legal concerns that I have. So there is no talking anymore. Okay,
Go to David Ross. I already answered, no, you've never met an alien. that you know?
David Ross, could you share what you think maybe current projects at Ericsson? I've heard NGAD, a Next Generation Air Dominance project, commercial radio spectrum signal. Yeah, yes and no. They are using commercial radio stations. It is not for piggybacking signals, but it is used for a certain type of radar. And if we still have time, I'm going to talk about these projects today. I was planning on talking to them about them a little bit when we go over the base, because it kind of ties in with certain buildings there. I will talk about it. If we don't get to it this time, I promise next time we will do another stream and I'll talk about NGAD, the Next Generation Air Dominance, the B-21, the passive radar, jamming, that is that radio spectrum deal, and all kinds of other interesting things.
The next question from the same person.
Could you
Asking
show?
about red
No,
flags.
that's
Yeah, right there.
oh. Does Ericsson shut down exotic projects flying tests during red flags? They work around the red flag schedule. It's actually during red flag. Most of the really exotic stuff flies out of Area 51 at night. Red flag typically winds down, the night sortie winds down around midnight. And Area 51, that's right around the time when Area 51 typically brings out their stuff. Their night testing typically takes place between midnight and 3 in the morning. So yes, they still do their stuff. And sometimes they actually use some of their stuff in connection with red flag. I'll leave it at that. So yes, it still takes place during red flag. And right now there is actually a red flag going on. For those that don't know what red flag is, it's a training exercise out of Nellis Air Force Base that I may cover in a future live stream at some point. What OS?
Yeah, okay, what OSINT?
Yeah, tools and method do you use to trace the development flight carries experimental aircraft? In terms of the again, I am not a spy. I am not getting into all the little nitty-gritty details. I'm monitoring their air traffic. A lot of their radio traffic during missions is in the clear in UHF. In UHF military airband frequencies. Of course, they talk sort of in code. They call test cards, and so they, the pilot has, of course, a test card in front of him. The test guy in charge of the test has a test card in front of him. So they say, okay, test card 1, test card 2, waypoint 1, waypoint 2. I don't know what that is. So a lot of that is in the clear, and over time, as I'm monitoring these, I'm learning what that means. Sometimes call signs mean something and so forth. So I'm listening to the radio traffic. That is a big part of what I'm doing. I am not, I never have, and I never will hack into any of their systems. I use commonly available information that is out there on the internet. I mean, you can sometimes look at manufacturer websites, websites of, let's say, an engine manufacturer that talks about some new engine design, and then you hear something in air traffic around Area 51 that, I just read something about this new engine. I wonder, and then you start piecing things together. So that's how a lot of that works. But by no means am I spying on anyone or anything. And they know pretty much what I can do. They got all my equipment, so they can pretty much see exactly what I can do, and they know better. They probably know better than I what I can do. So let's see. Do you have any hex tail converters or repository, or do they use different? Yeah, there are some really good websites for hex codes. There's, of course, the FAA website where you can look up by the registration number, and it gives you the hex code. There's also a little utility that I'm using. I don't have the link handy right now. Email me this is Conspiracy Bear that asking the question. Email me and I'll send you a couple of links on that. This is so specific that I'll send you an email. I'll reply to your email with those links. They exist. So where are we?
Gigi's there.
Gigi is there. Hey, Gigi. Great, you made it. Did I miss any questions?
Yeah, my sister can't get on because she's on her phone, but she's listening. She wants to know
Okay.
why you were doing this, and I'm taking it to mean why are you doing the live stream? If she means differently, she'll tell me.
Okay, why am I doing this? I'm doing the live stream because I sense that there is a huge interest in Area 51. And right now I'm seeing 65 people here in the chat. So there are people that are really interested in that. And what I'm trying to do is with my website, for over 25 years now, I've been trying to get people interested in Area 51, to educate people about Area 51, what it is, what it isn't, and to give them a little guidance, what you can do, what you can't do when you go visit the perimeter and so forth. And now I'm seeing that, a lot of the younger generation uses YouTube as a medium, so I'm trying to adapt to that. I'm trying to use YouTube to reach a different audience, a younger audience, if you will. And I'm enjoying talking about Area 51. I'm enjoying the interest about Area 51, and it is. I'm really, I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying doing this, telling people about Area 51. I'm not doing this, I'm saying it again, to expose anything, to expose anything, any secrets. I am an American by choice, a proud American by choice, and I would never do anything to hurt this country. But I'm as curious as the next guy about Area 51, and I like to share in a safe way what I know, and maybe give people some guidance, some ideas what they can do safely when they come visit. And this live stream is my way of interacting. I wish I could meet with you all face to face in Rachel, and we could have a one-on-one chat over a drink or whatever. That's not going to happen. So this is my way of reaching out to everyone and have as close of a conversation as I can with the people that are interested in this. So have I seen, did I miss, is this the next question?
I don't know, the one about politics, you can just tell me not political. Right above that, Theodore Benson, no, down.
Down.
The big T there.
Not to get political, but do you think the recent election will hinder any tourism to the base? No, I don't believe so, but other than that, I want to keep politics out of it. I don't think that has any impact on tourism to the base. Our county, just briefly touch on tourism, our county is a very sparsely populated county. We don't have a lot of income in the county, and tourism is actually a great source of income, one of the biggest sources, if not the biggest source of income in Lincoln County. And we encourage tourism. I encourage tourism. That's part of why I'm doing this. I'm showing you to maybe whet your appetite to come out and see it. I don't think that's going to change, because if you can go out to the gate like everybody else does, take your photos, go home, and that's it for most people. Have you seen MiG aircraft at all there? I probably have. I can't say for certain. Most of the time when they fly, they are so high that you need to take photos and later analyze the photos to really determine what you got. I haven't actually caught one on photo. I know other people have, and I know for a fact that there are MiGs flying out of Area 51. There were MiGs flying out of Area 51. I'm pretty sure that they are still flying, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they don't have one or the other Chinese models in there also.
Go to the next.
Which one the official?
What is your webmaster at?
Webmaster at dreamlandresort.com. Don't you think that if everyone was worried about security or the testing, they would mask the test aircraft on ADSB. Yeah, they don't show up on ADSB. The question is, wouldn't they mask their test aircraft on ADSB? They have encrypted communications. They can encrypt their comms when they need to, and none of this is all inside military restricted area, so they don't use ADSB. Very few aircraft in the ranges use ADSB. The Janets do, and every once in a while you see a civilian aircraft go through, but test aircraft, even mission support aircraft, don't have ADSB turned on.
Pat Breeze is another friend of mine, Elfman.
Oh, well, great to see some friends of Linda's in here. Awesome. Yes, there are MiGs flying out of Area 51. I have a video of one of them with a new engine. Awesome, awesome. I'd love to see that video one of these days. Do you think the B-21 has flown missions out of Area 51 before first public flight? I believe that it has flown over Area 51. It has flown over the RCS range of Area 51 north of the base. I don't think that it actually flies out of Area 51. It flies out of Edwards. I believe that subsystems, no, I'm certain that subsystems for the B-21, avionics subsystems, have been flown on surrogate aircraft out of Area 51.
Hey, Daryl.
But I don't believe that the B-21 itself has ever been at Area 51 yet. I have actually one of my YouTube videos is a recording of a flight that I believe might have been the B-21 flying in the radar range of Area 51.
What was your next topic going to be?
I was hoping to show a little bit more about my website and then quickly go into the Google Earth stuff.
I would do that then, I think, is
So yeah, well, looks like we're pretty much
for the next hour.
coming down to the end of the question. I don't see any questions anymore. So let me just briefly show you here some other sections about my website. Really just touch on them, and you can explore them on your own. There's a whole section about Tonopah Test Range. I'm going to do a whole separate live stream about Tonopah Test Range. It's another secret base near Area 51. Here's some information about Janets, about other facilities that are also secret in the Nevada Test Range, and also related secret facilities like Plant 42 in Palmdale and so forth. There's a whole section about radio scanning. If you're coming out to Area 51 and you want to run your scanner, here are more frequencies than you will ever want to know. The list goes on and on. I don't want to go to the end of it now. I got a ton of frequencies. The ones marked in yellow are the ones that are used for missions around Area 51. So those are the ones that you really want to be listening to. Some audio clips of actual missions. You can listen to missions yourself. Go to these audio clips here. You can listen to the pilots actually talking to the ground controllers, various. It goes from 2024 all the way down to 2013, all kinds of missions here. Really interesting stuff, but it would go a little too far to go into radio sites around Area 51. This section is all dedicated to red flag analysis, red flag exercises, info about the red flag exercises, tons of pictures I took of red flag exercises over time. Almost every exercise I took some pictures, and you can find them on this section. Black projects is somewhat outdated. There's some black projects information in here. Some of it isn't relevant anymore, so kind of look at that more of a historic repository of information than really anything recent and relevant. Maps is a good, I'm going to show you a little bit more about some of the maps when we get into Google Earth. I got a bunch of Google Earth plugins here that you can download. and that plugs right into Google Earth. You download them, they automatically open in Google Earth, and you find all kinds of information about Area 51 and the ranges in these plugins. And I'll show you a little bit more about that when we get to Google Earth. Trip reports is a great section. It was much more popular in the beginning, as you can see in early years, where people just send me their reports. Okay, I visited the base and or the perimeter of the base, and this is what happened. Some photos and so forth. It's just a way for people to share their experiences and other people to see what, how other people perceived it, what they did to prepare, and all that good stuff. So interesting section full of great history. Of course, links related to Area 51. The store, we really don't have much in there right now. The discussion forum is a big, big part of my website. I think it is the reason why my website has been so successful. It is a bulletin board of sorts, very old school, where you can post messages about Area 51, about anything related. Here you can see I just posted a note about this live stream right now. And this goes way back, people discussing Area 51, their interest. And some of our members in the forum are very, very knowledgeable. Pete Merlin posts here occasionally. Of course, he's the Pope of Area 51, I want to say. He knows everything about Area 51, other people that are very knowledgeable. This is a great place. And don't be intimidated by all this. If you have questions about Area 51, no matter how basic it is, ask it. Look at the frequently asked questions first. If you can't find your answer, post a message here, and one of us will get back to you. Got a nice old-fashioned guest book here. Contact information, of course. We got a little German section here and a little intro for the team members that contribute to my site. And then, of course, down here, we got the links to our Facebook and YouTube page. Facebook page, just very briefly, looks like this. I'm posting relevant stuff that I'm posting in the discussion forum also on Facebook. So you can follow us here on Facebook and, of course, on our Dreamland Resort YouTube channel that you're on right now.
And how do people reach you? What's the best way to email you?
Webmaster@dreamlandresort.com. Go to my go to my Dreamland Resort website, contact us, and fill out that contact form. Put your name, your email, hit send feedback, and it goes right to my email address. Or just email me at webmaster@dreamlandresort.com. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I don't think we're going to get to the Roadrunners website. I don't want to cut it too short. It deserves a lot more than 2 minutes, so we're going to do that another time. Let's just, we're almost an hour into it. Are there any questions before we jump into the Google Earth stuff?
Yes, Cat Daddy Steve wants to know, when the UFO UAPs are out late at night, does the radio scanner get busy or stay quiet?
The UAPs, I'm a UFO skeptic. I got to tell you that right now. So there are, of course, unidentified objects flying around that are most, according to what I found in the last 25 years, most certainly ours. Sometimes the scanner gets very, very active. Sometimes it stays completely quiet. It depends whether they use open channels, then I can receive it, or whether they choose to use encrypted channels that I cannot monitor. So more often than not, Hank, oh boy, I wish I knew. I completely lost. That must be an old timer who posted this. Hank was a great supporter of this website. He helped me moderate chats in the chat room back then. He completely dropped off the face of the earth, and I choose to believe that he's fine. I don't know that for a fact. I just all of a sudden quit hearing from him and couldn't get a hold of him anymore. I choose to believe that he's okay.
Next one, you know that person.
I'm meeting you in 2019, red flag. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. Great. Well, always great meeting people. I hang I hang out at Coyote Summit for Red Flag just like everybody else. So if you see a black pickup truck or a tan Chevy Suburban, Tahoe, Chevy Tahoe, uh, senior moment here, sorry. Come up and introduce yourself. Always great to meet people, and I always enjoy meeting people at Coyote Summit or in Rachel or whichever way. Um, Always great to meet someone who's interested in the same stuff that I'm interested in.
Your last one was a question.
I'm sure rate. No. Do the camera dudes shoot at people? No one was shot at the Area 51 raid. The Area 51 raid was a storm. It's better known as the Storm Area 51 event in 2019. It was more of a tourist thing than anything else. People came to Rachel. It was supposed to be a big thing, and the organizers kind of dropped the ball, and it fell apart before it even started. We had over the course of the weekend about 2,000 tourists come to Rachel, some of them camping out there, going out to the gate. There were 2 arrests made. One lady apparently walked up to the guard shack and knocked on the door. They didn't like that. And somebody else peed at the fence. They got arrested too. Nobody got shot there. What you're talking about, what you're thinking of is there was somebody shot. Somebody did get shot dead on the other side of the test site a few years before that. He drove his vehicle through the guard post, drove a few miles into the test site, in the Nevada test site. He wasn't even close to Area 51, but he drove into the test site. He stopped his vehicle with security in pursuit. He exited his vehicle and had something in his hand that security perceived to be a weapon, and they shot him. But that wasn't anywhere near Area 51, and that wasn't in connection with the raid.
And you might want to clarify that the woman that got arrested knocking on the guard shack is within the Area 51 parameters.
Yes, it's set back a little bit. If you look at the back gate pictures, you can see what I'm talking about. The guard shack is set back a little bit, so that lady was technically on base property. Although, and that's something maybe I should say that here too, the people come up to Area 51 and they go to the gate and they think it's just like in the X-Files. They go up to the fence and they park right by the fence. They hop over the fence and boom, they're right at the runway at Area 51. That's not the way it works. You are at the closest point on public land. You're still 15 miles away from Area 51. At the back gate, you're 25 miles away from Area 51. So you're walking, running, driving for quite a while before you even get to Area 51 with security in hot pursuit. So you're not storming anything if that's what you want.
Go to Space Frog.
Space Frog.
Right.
You feel that the Area 51 perimeter has gotten more aggressive lately? Yes and no. So they have built a big guard post at the back gate now. When you go to look at older photos on my website, you can see a small guard building, a cattle fence, and that's it. Now there's a big guard post. The back gate gets a lot more tourists now, especially after the Storm Area 51 event. Everybody knows about the back gate now, so everybody drives down there, and the guard shack was exposed, very exposed, right by the fence. So they built a bigger guard shack further back. And also, back in the 90s, before I even went to Area 51, I hear that they were actually a lot more aggressive, that the helicopter was what they call sandblast people, hover very low over people that they didn't want in the area. They haven't done that
Now
in a
they just
while.
blow their horn.
Yeah, now they blow, Linda just says, now they blow their horn. And that's exactly what they do. They have this pretty annoying horn at the back gate. And when you hang there for too long, or you get a little too close to the actual gate, they turn that horn on, and they've been known to leave it on for several minutes. It's pretty annoying.
Pretty loud.
It's pretty loud, yeah. So it was only about 200 feet up.
Are you a ham radio operator?
Yes, I am. K6 LAS. If so, what frequency do you hang out on? If I have it on in Rachel, I'm mostly monitoring the VHF and UHF 70 centimeter and 2 meter calling channels. I don't have a particular frequency that I hang out, but when I have my radio on, usually I monitor VHF and UHF calling.
Okay, go. He's got to clarify his
Ask
question.
the question differently. Who is allowed to shoot? Are the government relatives, or is it a private security facility? Since the camera, the use of deadly force, authorized signs have been removed, but they are, of course, still authorized, as far as I know, to use weapons to stop intruders. But for the most part, they don't need that because they have all kinds of sound weapons, all kinds of new devices that broadcast audio frequencies in such a way that they don't need to hurt you. They just direct that weapon at you, and you're on the ground, unconscious, in pain. They can set that on a dial what they want you to feel, and you're incapacitated. So, and that's how they deal with. There's always these people. Oh, we're going to get 100 people together. They can't stop us all. Yes, they can, and they will.
That's how they would have dealt with it. Yeah.
That's how they would have dealt with the Storm Area 51 event if it had really happened. But it didn't happen, and I'm glad it didn't happen. It was actually a pretty security did a great job diffusing the situation during that event, where our local sheriff's department's deputies kind of almost created a Disneyland atmosphere on the outside. They were very present, but at the same time very friendly. And oh, you want me to take your photo? And come on over here, take a photo with our dog, and this and that. It was perfect the way they handled it. I gotta really give them credit for that. Okay, I think I'm out of questions. Let me get into. I know you're all waiting to see Area 51 in real life. Let me see if I can make that happen. Apparently not.
What?
I'm going to have to stop sharing that and start sharing this. Well, there we are. This is a Google Earth image, satellite image of the entire test range, courtesy of Google Earth. Credit is herewith given to satisfy copyright requirements. What you see here is the outline of the entire test site. This is the restricted area on the ground. You can download this outline in my maps section on my Dreamland Resort website. It's something like, look for something like a Google Earth plugin, Nevada Test and Training Range, NTTR, outline, border, something along those lines. Well, you'll find it. It has a bunch of stuff in it, not only this outline, also has the airspace definitions in it, but it also includes this outline. So here it is. Down here, you see Vegas. Rachel is up here. Tonopah is up here. And right smack in the middle of the test site, Area 51 is here. So here it is. Groom Lake, Area 51, as it looked in 2024. Of course, you look at it and you see a bunch of buildings. You want to know what they are. Well, fear not. Go to my website and download the Area 51 building map plugin. And then this is what you get. You literally get labels to every building, every feature at Area 51, the runways, the lake bed, and it goes even further to the north end of the lake bed and the Groom Lake Road entrance. Everything that is in any way of interest. Gate 700 is over here. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All these labels you can download on my website. I'm going to turn them off for now so we can see what we're looking at here. So let's take a look at the base from the north end down. This is the north end of the base, the older part of the base. These radar dishes here that you can see pointed upwards, they are part of the radar cross-section range. This is where they measure the radar return from aircraft. In other words, how stealthy they are. In order to do that, they mount an aircraft on a pylon on this concrete platform on the lake and shoot radar signals at that aircraft and measure the return. This is what they call the radar cross-section range, RCS range. This area here is what they call the north ramp of Area 51. This is mostly associated with the exploitation of foreign technology. In other words, with MiG fighter jets that were and probably still are housed in these hangars. This area also serves for the F-16 fighter jets that are always on standby at Area 51. If anyone is really dumb enough to try and fly in there, these guys are the last resort. They will stop that. There's a helicopter, one of them on the ground, two more pads that are currently empty here. They are probably flying patrol right now when this picture was taken. These are foundations for new hangars that have been built that are complete now. In newer satellite images, you can actually see the complete hangars. This guy here is an engine test hangar. They back the aircraft in. The tail end, the jet points down this tunnel and is directed upward. So this is where they can actually run a jet engine at full blast to test its horsepower, trim it, whatever they do with these engines. I don't know, I'm not a jet engine tech. This area here is the oldest part of Area 51. This is where it all began. These hangars were used for the U-2 project in 1950, that began in 1955. Back in those days, this taxiway was actually the runway. So none of this was here. Very few of these buildings were here. You had these buildings here, a runway, some old administrative buildings, a fire station, and that was it. That is the birthplace of Area 51. Of course, now these hangars are no longer connected to the flight line. They are mostly used for workshops and storage and so forth. The power plant of Area 51, emergency generators, septic system of Area 51, water tower, and find it real quick. Where is it? Where is it hiding? Right here. This is the triangular tower that I showed you on the satellite image before. On various satellite, drama before I meant to say, on various satellite images, you can see that it is sitting sometimes at different angles. So we are pretty certain that this rotates around its vertical axis. What it does, we still don't know. It's been sitting there since 2005, and here we are 20 years later, we still don't know what it does. The old administrative complex of the base right here. This was the old administrative building. There was a chow hall right here that has been taken down. This is the recreation area of the base. Sam's Place, the bar, kind of a coffee shop kind of a deal where you can, I guess, get bar food and, of course, have drinks. There's a bowling alley there, a swimming pool, a softball field. This is the this whole area is a recreation area, recreational part of Area 51 because people stay there overnight. People don't realize it, but you know, a lot of the personnel stays overnight, and you know, they are done with the 8-hour or 10-hour shift. What do? Well, they go to Sam's Place, have a drink, or you know, go for a swim, play some softball. There's a running track right here. They go run. So they try to keep people, you know, occupied as far as they can. A lot of I know in the past, a lot of people that worked at Area 51 would actually off-duty be able to check out a Jeep and go exploring in old mines that are now inside the restricted area. I don't know if that is still allowed. I know that was a very popular thing to do back in the days when the Roadrunners were out there. This area is living quarters, kind of motel style, I think single-story buildings. They have living quarters for between 1,000 and 1,500 personnel at Area 51 to stay overnight, for the week, over the weekend, whatever they need. This is the Consolidated Services Facility, as it is called, basically the utility company for the base. This is the technical center of the base. You can see when we zoom in, there's a radio tower here with all kinds of microwave dishes pointed in various directions. This is the heart of Area 51, very much the data processing. It started out as data processing for the A-12 spy planes. Their films were developed here and evaluated here, and it kind of morphed into the modern day equivalent of that, the data processing of Area 51. This is the new administrative building that they relocated the administration from further north to this area where they have a little more room. The new chow hall that they built, new what do you call it, dining hall for Area 51 employees. This building here is a very interesting building. It was fairly recently built. And I've been looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, there's very few parking spaces here. Huge banks of air conditioners that you see behind the building. Big transformers and generators on the other side of the building. What needs a lot of power creates a lot of warm air and doesn't need a lot of personnel. A data center. I'm pretty certain that this is a data center, a data processing center related to AI projects at Area 51, and which in particular I'm going to get to in a minute. So this is I'm almost 100% certain that this is a data center. Here are the Janets. These are the commuter planes that fly every day from Las Vegas to Area 51 to bring workers into the base. Little Janet terminal, and this is a smaller area for the business jets, for the beach jets that fly on an as needed schedule. They also go to other areas, to Plant 42, to Edwards North Base, and to other areas that have relations to Area 51. So this area here is where people arrive. They get into their vehicles and drive to their various locations of duty for the day. Down here, this is Hangar 18 that we saw in the panorama photo earlier. One of the biggest hangars at Area 51, also one of the oldest, besides the U-2 hangars. Like I said, I believe the Rad 55 lives in here, probably also used for multi-purpose. If a Janet breaks down while it's at Area 51, this is probably where they pull it in and fix it if they can. This area here is more administration and also a smaller hangar that was used previously for other projects. This area is very interesting. Let me actually walk you through that over time. Going back in time here. You see these two double hangars. They were used for the F-117 stealth fighter program when it was still at Area 51, super secret back in the 70s, early 80s. Nobody knew about them. This is where they flew out of to be evaluated. And now look at these hangars and what happened to this whole area fairly recently. This is a 2019 image. Boom. These big extensions were built around these hangars. They looked so big in the previous image. Now all of a sudden they are dwarfed by these big extensions. These were built very recently. And if you look very closely, you're going to see that the taxiway here was cut open and patched back up. Then when you follow this line, You go further north, and I wonder where it might go. It crosses over, it goes here, and look at that, it goes right to the data center. So the way I see this is that this is where a secret UAV project is currently under development that uses AI. And of course, it needs a fast data link to the data center that is probably supporting these AI functions, these AI projects that live right down in here. So this is one of the big things right now. This is probably related to the NGAD, Next Generation Air Dominance project. They built these big covers, I believe, because they need to. This is all very brand new technology, and AI controlled drones flying information with a manned fighter jet. They probably even need to set this up on the ground and to really see how this all works together. And I think that's what they do under these covers. They set up these formations of aircraft. I should probably talk a little bit more about the NGAD project. It's a manned fighter jet, AI with AI assistance that controls and is in networked communication with drones that are flown by AI. So the manned fighter jet, the pilot says, hey, there's a target on the ground. Drone one, go ahead and take care of that target. That's all that drone one needs. Drone one's AI kicks in and does the rest of it. Drone two, I got somebody on my 6, take care of that guy. Drone two, that's all that drone two needs to know. It goes back there and everything else, it does it autonomously. So you have a fighter jet that is supported and surrounded by AI-controlled unmanned jets. And I believe that is what is going on right here. Don't be fooled by how small these look in the satellite image. These are huge buildings. Look at, these are vehicles. There's a trailer here. Look how big these things are. These are massive, easily the biggest structures in Area 51. I think I did the math once. I think this whole thing has a footprint of more than 2 acres. Big. This is the south ramp of Area 51. This is where back in the 60s, the CIA project, the A-12 spy plane was housed. As I mentioned it before, when we looked at the panorama view from Tikaboo, these hangars are where the A-12s lived in, and this is where they were pulled in to mount the cameras or whatever sensors they needed for their mission. So basically they had a bay, and whatever was needed for that mission was mounted inside that bay. That happened in this hangar right here. I'm almost done, and I'm going to take some questions. I just want to finish a few more items, and then I'll take questions. This hangar here is one of the newer hangars. We still don't know exactly what it's used for. It is, as you can see, it's a little offset from the base, so it's apparently highly secure. This is a mound of dirt that was piled up, and it was piled up conveniently in such a way that it blocks the view from Tikaboo, the only view spot on public land from Area 51. So this hangar is certainly something that they don't want anyone to peek into. And we know that, we almost know for a fact that there has been one project that was either dedicated to go in here or has been in here, and then it has been repurposed for another project. We know that because the taxiway markings have been changed. They were different before for one project, and then they have been adapted for a larger frame aircraft to be housed in here. But exactly what, your guess is almost as good as mine. Way down here at the south end, pull through hangar. They can pull in here, get ready for flight, run up their engines, warm it up. It's open on both sides. They come in from one end, go out the other end, go up to the runway, and boom, they're off. There's a few more outlying facilities here. This is a weapons bunker. Of course, you don't want to have stuff that goes boom in the middle of the base. So it's out here on the south end of the base. These two guys here are engine test cells. When they test engines without that are not really mounted on aircraft. Experimental engines, they are being set up here, and you can actually see the blast area goes this way, and this blast area goes this way. So that's where they test engines. Some waste burial area here. Here's a concrete plant, gravel pit concrete plant, water tanks, shipping and receiving facility. This is where all the stuff, most deliveries come through the Nevada test site, come down this road here, and at the shipping and receiving facilities. And this is the end of the road for most delivery drivers. From here on, base security, secure personnel takes over and brings the deliveries to where they need to go. This area is building materials, some shops, and I think that covers most of it. Maybe just to point out one thing before we take questions. Let me turn the building map back on. There are 3 entrances to Area 51. One is here at Groom Lake Road. Everybody knows that. One is the North Gate near Rachel. And the other one comes in from a whole another secure facility through the gate 700 here from the backside. This whole area here is part of the Nevada test site where they were playing with nukes in the 60s and 50s. A lot of this is contaminated. This is a very secure area. There's some homeland security stuff happening here. So all this is already a secure site. So they truck stuff in from Mercury, and you don't know where it goes. Does it go to Yucca Lake? Does it go to any area up here? Or does it go all the way up Mercury Highway, gate 700 to Area 51? So we can't really even track what goes into Area 51. Before we get to the North Gate, let's take some questions.
Well, my brother, who's also listening, but he just texted me, he said, are there any animals in the area, and how many acres is that area? How big is it?
Yes, there are animals, of course, in that area. It is the box, as they call the immediate secure area around Area 51, is 12 by 15 miles. 12 by 15 miles. And of course, this, I don't know how many acres this entire surrounding restricted area is. There are mountain sheep in there. There are all kinds of mountain lions. Right in this area, no, up in here, in this area, I ran into a mountain lion once. You know, anything that lives in the high desert in southern Nevada is in this area. And of course, it's, you know, there's no hunting in there, so they have a pretty good life there because nobody can really get there. And, you know, there's also this whole valley here, including some of these mountains, are actually managed by a rancher who has a ranch in Tikaboo Valley. There is a fence that goes right up to the north end of, let's see if I can turn that on real quick, to the north end of the base. So when you go to this perimeter right here, you won't see a fence. You just see warning signs by the roads, and there's no fence. But there is actually an old fence further back that goes down here, goes along the end of the, goes past the Groom Lake and then goes this way. So this was the boundary of the base as it existed before 1984. And in this whole area here, it's ranching country. So you're going to see cattle. And some of these, there's a bunch of springs in the hills here. So the rancher actually has access to some of these springs. So yeah, there's all kinds. I mean, starting from bunnies to mountain lions to mountain sheep. I've seen a mountain sheep up at the power lines overlook. There's all kinds of animals there.
In the chat, you were asked where is Lockheed and Northrop hangar? Do you know where they are?
We can really only speculate. This hangar is associated with Northrop. These hangars were associated with Lockheed. This hangar is probably associated with Lockheed, but it's not like they own the hangars. It's more along the lines of they are assigned a hangar and historically have always used that hangar. But as projects change, they may use different hangars. Like I said, these are the next generation air dominance project. There are two competing projects right now. So we are speculating that one of these double hangars is used by one team and the other one by the other team.
Okay, and MillerVan.tv had indicated earlier on, he said that's a cool job perk. I forget what he was referring to, but would love to be able to explore the range. But he thinks that there's still a lot of radioactive fallout.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on that?
Yes, there is. He's talking to, when I was referring to people being able to check out a Jeep and explore the mines. There's all kinds of old mines in these hills. I would love to check those out. There are areas up here you can actually see in some cases where the soil has been disturbed. There were nuke tests only a few miles north of Area 51, and the top soil removed. But these are areas that I probably wouldn't want to have a picnic right now. So there are areas, and of course, base personnel knows where they are, that should be avoided. And of course, in this whole area here, the Nevada test site, you see all those craters. These are all nuclear tests. The biggest sedan crater right here. A lot of this is the contamination is contained underground, but I wouldn't necessarily want to go digging there and poking around too much.
So then go ahead, start here.
You ever talk to any delivery? No, they won't. I guess I wouldn't want to bother them, but I've seen delivery trucks, and for the most part, when they pass me, when I'm sitting by the side of the road with a camera, and they just kind of turn away. They don't necessarily, they don't dislike what we're doing, but they just don't want to be seen, and certainly don't want to be talked to.
We have a friend that when he was in the military delivered things there, but he won't talk about it either.
Yeah, I don't think we should talk about
Just
that.
saying. I don't know what the next question is. I don't know.
Are they using? Yes, they are using HalfQuick.
Oh, okay.
That is a frequency hopping, secure communications program. And I don't want to get into detail, but they are using it. It is a secure communications protocol for air and ground communication. What do you think about this area 37? Oh God, I don't know if I can copy and paste that real quick here. And please don't send me a bunch of coordinates. No, I really, no, that's not. No, I don't think I can copy this. Let's try this once again. Where are we? This looks like we are in. This is in the northern test site. Looks like area 19. Oh, these, yeah, nice. These are. I see this question comes up quite a bit. People have emailed me about it, posted in the forum. These are actually tunnel entrances, but they are very far away from Area 51 when you look at it. Area 51 is way over here. They are not secret entrances to Area 51, but they lead into tunnels where they are testing the effect of small contained, where they are testing the effects of small contained nuclear blasts on various instrumentation. So basically they expose, inside the tunnel where the blast is contained, they expose various instrumentation to small nuclear blasts to see how well they withstand them. That's what these tunnels are. This is right here, U12U tunnel. this is another plugin I got on my website in my math section that you can download, and you can explore the whole Nevada side to your heart's content. There's probably more information than you ever wanted to know in that plugin, but maybe I'll do that in more detail another time. I wasn't not here on the East Coast and got to work tomorrow. Yeah, well, I know, guys, it's getting late, and I thank you all for hanging in there. I wanted to say a few more things about the backgate, and I think then we're going to wrap it up. Maybe with some more questions, and everything else what we haven't been able to cover this time, we will cover the next time. Folks, I'm really blown away by the interest and by your questions. It is so great to have this interest, and I can't tell you enough how much I enjoy answering these questions and to tell you about what I've been doing for the last 25 years, my hobby, my biggest hobby probably. And there will definitely be another session. Have any more questions?
There was a quit 76 again.
Do you know what senior PEG is? I bet it flew from this place many times. Yeah, it did. If I'm not mistaken, and please, I could be totally wrong. I think senior PEG is a stealth drone that flew out of Area 51, based on stealth technology and other projects. Yes, it has flown, and I am by no means an expert in all the projects at Area 51. Senior PEG and all the other projects are mentioned in Peter Merlin's book. It's really, for anyone interested in Area 51, everyone interested in Area 51 should have a copy. It is the Bible on Area 51. Peter literally wrote the book on Area 51. So you want to ask in the stream whether it is allowed to listen to the radio of the Bundeswehr. No, it is not, regardless of the security rank. Okay, so yeah, I guess in Germany, see here, you know, we take it for granted that we can just listen in on radio communications to our heart's content, and it's up to them to make it secure if they don't want us to listen in. In Germany, apparently, it is very different, and I would probably, by doing what I'm doing here, would probably violate all kinds of laws in Germany. But here it is totally legal. I have no problem with putting scanner stuff online. And there's actually, I mean, you can go and listen to all kinds of live ATC webcasts of all kinds of air traffic. None of that is classified, and they have ways to make us, to tune us out if they really want to. So it's up to them, and they have it down pretty good. If they don't want us to know what they're doing, we don't know what they're doing. As simple as that.
You know anything about Aura spy plane? Aura's one more up.
The Aurora.
One more down.
One more down.
There you go.
Never built an Aurora spy plane. I don't believe that there is an Aurora. I believe there are a lot of experimental planes that had certain features, and Aurora was the buzzword in those days. This was like late 90s. So everybody knew about the Aurora. So, you know, it's like somebody sees something out of the ordinary. Oh, it's got to be the Aurora. Somebody sees something zipping by through the sky. Oh, that's got to be the Aurora. Somebody sees something exotic on the ground. That's got to be the Aurora. So it has encompassed so many different facets of experimental aircraft out of Area 51, Palmdale, Edwards, and other bases. I don't believe there is one Aurora. I believe what we know as the Aurora tells us about a bunch of different projects. What book would you recommend read about Area 51? Peter Merlin's book. I don't think I still have it up. It's on the front page of my website. It is called, what is it called? Peter, forgive for forgetting the title of your book, Dreamland, The Secret History of Area 51. That is the Bible on Area 51. I mean, I can tell you, I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm reading Peter's book and I'm still learning about Area 51. So that is the Bible about Area 51. There's also another book written by T.D. Barnes, who is one of the road runners, and I will talk about the road runners another time. And let me see if I can find that real quick here. That book is called, here it is, CIA Station D, Area 51. I'm going to post a link to both of these books in the description to this video. CIA Station D, Area 51 talks a little bit more about the CIA aspect of Area 51, the early days of Area 51. And if you get through those two books, you know everything there is to know about Area 51. These books contain stuff that people that have worked at Area 51 for 20 years don't know.
That's it.
I think that's
all the questions.
All the questions. And I am seeing your comments saying thanks. I do appreciate all those comments. I'm going to go through these later. If I'm not answering every single one of them, forgive me, but I'm seeing them and I totally appreciate the positive feedback that you guys are giving me. I'm really tickled about the feedback here. I'm loving it. Before I let you go, I want to talk to you just very quickly about the back gate of Area 51. Since we have Google Earth open here, let's take a look. Where is it? Oh, two things actually I still wanted to show you, but then I'll let you go, I promise. So here's the back gate of Area 51. Rachel, up here, you're driving down the road and boom, you're coming to the back gate of Area 51. This is another plugin. Let me turn it off for a second so you can see what you're looking at. This is the new gate. As you can see, fortified. There's barriers surrounding the whole thing so you can't even see inside anymore. This is where most tourists today end up. This is where if you visit Rachel, you drive down 10 miles, dirt road, you get to a gate here. You can't miss it. I mean, the gate is very obvious. This is also where the horn is. This is where most tourists go. And all the features are documented in another plugin on my website that you can download. You can see I got antenna, I got cameras labeled here, I got everything labeled. And there's also some outlying areas here. These areas are sites that were developed for Russian radar sites. They want to know how well our stuff does against Russian radar. Even though Russia may not be the immediate enemy, most of our enemies have Russian hardware. So we need to know how well do our things perform, our planes. Basically, can the Russian radar pick us up or not? And this for these reasons, they used to have a bunch of Russian radar sites here to fly our new developments over the radar sites and see if the radar sites can see them. And of course, the goal is that the radar sites can't pick us up, can't pick our planes up. Now, with all the tourists coming right here to the gate and looking over the fence and looking at the radar sites and scratching their heads, me telling people that they are Russian radar sites, they moved all these radar sites. And I believe they moved them into this whole empty valley north of Area 51. So when you look at near Google Earth photos, you can actually see that some sites have been developed here, and a lot of these radar sites have been moved to a more secure area. But what did show up here all of a sudden is a radio station. In the fall of last year, all of a sudden, I noticed that they were building a large radio tower here inside the gate. I mean, you're looking at, I don't know, a mile or less inside the boundary. You can clearly see that from the gate. And I got photos on my website that show those towers, the tower. So, okay, a tower near Area 51, what is that? Somebody posted in my forum and somebody said, well, that looks like a FM radio antenna that is used by FM radio stations. FM radio station near Area 51? No. So I turn on my radio and tune through the scale, and sure enough, I'm picking up a strong signal on 99.9 megahertz FM. Turns out that this is a radio station that broadcasts a signal during missions out of Area 51. I have a whole YouTube of more than an hour of that signal that you can listen to. It's some music that they broadcast from this station, and there's another station further north near the Tonopah range. Oops, go away. Sorry, folks. So why do we need a radio station? Why do we need actually two radio stations near Area 51? Turns out that what they do is there is something that is called a passive radar system. Normally, a radar system transmits a signal that bounces off an aircraft. The radar site picks it up again, and from the reflection, it can make certain assumptions or deductions about the aircraft. Now, if you want to have a radar that can't be seen by the aircraft, in other words, can't be neutralized by the aircraft, you don't want to be transmitting. So you use transmitters that already exist. And in most areas, you have FM radio stations. So you use an FM radio station, a completely unrelated FM radio station, a civilian station, as your signal source. And that's exactly what these passive radar systems do. The technology behind that is very complicated. I'm not going to bore you with that. But the next thing is, of course, our enemies have those passive radar systems also. So the next thing is, we need to neutralize them. We need to find a way to neutralize and jam a passive radar. But in order to do that, we need a radio station, and we don't have a radio station near Rachel. So what do? We build one. And that's exactly what they did. They built that radio station to test their passive radar jamming. And, you know, I can tell, I got several videos and also some information on my website about what exactly they do. When this guy is transmitting, I know there is a mission going on right now related to jamming, and I got some information online. There's other information that I chose not to publish so far, but basically that's what this is. Brand new FM radio station. If you go up there, tune your radio to 99.9. If you're lucky, the station is transmitting and you can actually listen to music out of Area 51. All right, folks, hang in there. I'm almost done. One more thing, and then we'll call it a day. We'll take some more questions and call it a day. I just briefly want to show you Tikabo Peak. Tikabo Peak is the one mountain that you can hike up to see Area 51. This is also stuff that I got. This is also a YouTube, a Google Earth plugin that I have on my website. You see the track here. You see some waypoints. You're driving on a dirt road up in the hills into a canyon here, and there's a washed out area here that I have a video about how to get past. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you're not sure that you can do it, I recommend you don't do it. In my slightly lifted Tahoe, I can probably do it. I haven't tried it. A friend of mine in a lifted Jeep has made it through. So sometimes, for some people, you may have to hike from here. If you're lucky, you can drive past that. You go up past Badger Spring and up to this left turn here. This is pretty much where you start hiking, no matter what you're driving, because this part is so washed out that you really don't, unless you have a quad, or dirt bike, you can make it up here. But in any kind of four-wheel drive, even Jeep, you're not going to make it. If you make it, you're probably going to cause some damage to your vehicle. It's not worth it. So then you're going up, and again, I have a video that shows the whole way up here to the lower staging area, the upper staging area, and from here, the hike up to Tikabo Peak, the view spot to Area 51 starts. This spine here is brutal. It is very steep. I don't know if I can show you this here. It doesn't look anything like in real life, but trust me, we call this the 100 yards of hell. It's actually more than 100 yards, but it is every bit of hell. And you can't wait to get up to the fourth summit here where it levels out and you're looking at more level terrain again. But this is by far the worst part of the hike, and many have tried and made it. If you make it up here, hiking kind of alongside the ridge to a rocky outcropping around those rocks, you come to a saddle. This is all pretty level ground here. It's a pretty easy hike. And then you start going up again. Let me show you. So you're going uphill again and go through the trees, and you kind of, people have started tying little ribbons around the trees to mark the trail, but you will lose the trail and then stumble upon it again, lose it again, come upon it again. It's not a very obvious trail, but just, as long as you keep going up until you run out of up, then you get up here. From here, you have a little bit of a view of Area 51, but really not a great view. Go back down a little bit, and the last part up to Tikaboo Peak. And when you're up here, you are standing on top of a rock formation. This side is a sheer cliff, almost a straight drop off. And looking at Area 51, way over here. Let me turn the building map on. So you get Area 51 is down in here. So you're up here on Tikaboo Peak. You're looking all the way across this valley, all the way across the valley, across these hills, the foothills surrounding Area 51, and eventually into Area 51. Now, part of the view of Area 51 is actually hidden by some of these hills. Ironically, some of it is hidden by Freedom Ridge, which is this ridge right here that used to be on public land. You used to be able to go up on this ridge line right here and look right down at Area 51. Ironically, now it blocks our view to Area 51 from Tikaboo. But this is where you want to be if you want to see Area 51 with your own eyes. It is still 26 miles away. You're looking through desert haze. In the summer, you have a lot of heat haze going on. If it's windy, you have a lot of dust that kicks up. And you need really good optics to see Area 51 from Tikaboo. But it is, in my opinion, worth it to at least once see Area 51 for yourself. Of course, they want to know what's going on. They want to know what you're up to. There's some. I'm just going to leave it at they will know when you come up here. I'm not going to get into details, but they don't really know exactly where you are. So they want to know what kind of optics do you have, what kind of communications gear, scanners do you have. So they want to take a look at you. And what do? I don't think it shows up here very well, but there is actually a weather station up there. I don't think anybody is really very interested in the weather on Tikaboo, but the weather station conveniently has 2 cameras, one of them remote controlled. And the signal, yes, you can look at certain stills on the internet, on the weather service website or whatever, but the main purpose of this is this camera is being controlled by Area 51. And you can see how open this is. They can see everything that is going on the peak here. So if you're going up to Tikaboo Peak, they will see you. And surprised that the weather station doesn't show any clearer here. This is the plateau right on top, and the weather station would be right here. And I'm a little confused why it doesn't show any clearer, but it's right there. I mean, you're basically right below the camera, and there's really no. You see, there's a drop off right here. There's a drop off here. there's no other place to be. You got to be right here, and they keep an eye on you. But with all that said, it's a hell of a hike to get up there. I've seen 20-somethings not make it. I've seen 50, 60-somethings make it. So decide for yourself in what kind of shape you are. You're looking at higher elevation, thin air. You're in 8,000 feet. You start at 7,000 feet, going up to 8,000 feet. So you have a 1,000-foot elevation change. Thin air, sun burning down on you in the summer. The cold getting to you in the winter. It's always windy on Tikaboo. Right now, there is a lot of snow up there, and it goes way, way, way below freezing at night, well into April. So if you want to spend the night up there, which is worth it, but you got to be prepared. So I think this pretty much is about all I want to cover today. If you have any more questions, I'm going to hang around and answer questions. Other than that, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I tremendously enjoyed talking to you about Area 51 and your interest in it. This is not going to be the last live stream. We're going to do another one and hopefully a bunch more. I don't know exactly when yet, but I'm trying to keep it at about a month. I also want to do a German live stream, so I'm trying to alternate that. So bear with me, but there will be another live stream. And I really enjoyed everyone's interest here. If you, of course, want to keep updated on what's on my new videos, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more. I got some, I don't want to tell you too much, but I got some projects lined up for the not very distant future. And you'll be amazed what's coming this year. So stay with us. Dragon Rose has something to say.
Just wondering, because I know some of my peeps are wondering when we will have another live stream to discuss our favorite friends at the FBI.
Let's make that a subject at the next one. I can't really commit to a date right now, but I'll post a date very soon. What I'll do is I'll schedule the live stream here. So if you subscribe to my channel, you should get a notification. And if you don't, the upcoming live streams also show up on the front page of my YouTube channel. I will announce them on my discussion forum and also on my Facebook page. So yeah, we'll cover that in the next live stream in a little more detail. And maybe have Linda in there too, and we'll talk both about, since she was affected by that also, we'll talk both about how that affected us. And there's plenty of more material. I got more ideas and material than I have time, but we'll get to it over time. And this is an ongoing project. I really enjoy everybody's interest. Do we have any more questions? If you have questions, just post them in caps here. Other than that, I'm seeing a lot of good nights and well wishes.
Yeah, there was, to see.
That,
Somebody
of course,
asked, how's it
both.
going in Rachel?
Yeah, we are in our house in Las Vegas right now. Rachel is doing great. As most of you know, I have a home base in Las Vegas and also in Rachel. Maybe the next live stream we'll do from Rachel. The internet is not all that great, so it's a little bit hit and miss if the live stream is actually working from there. But good night, FBI and CIA agents. I love it. Yep. Well, I wouldn't. They would not to listen in. I mean, I would if I were them.
You aren't learning anything new. Quit76 says, do you think they use Angel's Peak in connection with Area 51 at all?
Yes, they do. It's a relay site from Las Vegas, from Nellis into the ranges. A lot of data going into the ranges uses Angel Peak. There is some information hidden in some areas of my website, but I don't want to advertise it too much. But yes, they are using Angel Peak, absolutely. Well, thank you all for your interest and good show. I enjoyed it. I thank you and I applaud you all for your interest. We'll see you next time. This has been a pleasure and it won't be the last. So for today, Linda, Dragon Rose, and I are signing off. We will see you next time. Wishing you all a good night.